But people often ask me, because my novel was actually a musical first, also written by me, it was called Plague the Musical, you can watch it on YouTube, what's the difference between writing a musical and writing a novel? Or perhaps how do you adapt it from one to the other? I think the big difference is that when we wrote the musical, we weren't so interested in like deep historical research. It just wasn't something that was on our radar at the time. We were just there to have fun. We did know a bit about the Great Plague of London. You know, it's kind of taught in British schools, so we kind of know it, you know, as teenagers. But yeah, we didn't do a lot of research. So when we came to adapt the novel, I really wanted to deep dive into historical research into 1665 London and really understand what was going on. You know, the locations especially, we didn't care much about the veracity of the locations in the musical, but for the novel, we wanted to make it as real as possible. So, you know, London Bridge was the big one. London Bridge, I did tons of research into London Bridge, old London Bridge this is, which is, you know, it had houses on it, it was residential. Even what shops were there? There were loads of shops on the bridge. What kind of shops were there? Did they have coffee shops? Tell you, actually, they did have coffee shops. They just started. It was a new thing then. Bookshops. What do they have? If you imagine like the musical was like a pencil outline, and then with the novel, I was really coloring it in and filling it in and shading it and making it nice and detailed. The other big difference, of course, is in the musical, narration is achieved sometimes and often through songs. When Clive comes into London for the first time, there's a big song introducing London and how awful it is, and he gets beaten up and left for dead by the Londoners. In the novel, I can't do that using a song. So instead, there was this description of Old London Bridge, and there's more things that happen in the story, more action, more characters. That said, as you will see if you read the novel, some of the songs have survived, and there's a good reason for that in world, in the novel itself. The novel, you've got a lot more room to write. I was able to add some extra kind of subplots and other things going on as well. Scenes that, you know, you just can't include in a 2-hour musical. A 2-hour musical is very tight. You can only get so much in, just like, you know, a movie versus a book. There's a lot you have to cut out for the movie. Okay, I hope that answers that question. What's the difference between writing a musical and adapting it into a novel?